76% of the dead on the Titanic were third-class passengers. They weren't just in the wrong part of the ship, they were locked in it. This is what that night felt like if you were born in the wrong class. It is the 10th of April, 1912, and you are standing on a dock in Southampton with everything you own in one bag. You are 23 years old. You are from a village in southern Italy whose name no one in America will ever learn to pronounce. You have worked since you were 9. You have saved for 4 years to buy this ticket third class, the cheapest passage available, a berth in the lower decks of the largest ship ever built. You do not care about the size of the ship. You care about what is on the other side of the ocean. In your coat pocket, folded and refolded until the creases have become soft, is a letter. Your mother pressed it into your hand the morning you left. "Give this to your brother Marco," she said. "He hasn't written in 6 months. I need to know he is well." You promised. You have been carrying that promise across train stations and channel crossings and 3 days of ocean without thinking about it much. You are about to think about nothing else. Third class on the Titanic is not what you expected. You expected a ship. What you got is a floating city, and your neighborhood is at the bottom. The berths are small but clean, 4 to a room, which is more privacy than you have had in years. The food is better than anything you ate in the last month of saving money to get here. There is a common room where men play cards and women watch children, and someone always has an accordion. You learn the ship the way you learn any new place, by walking until you understand where things are. But the Titanic is not easy to understand. The corridors of third class fold back on themselves, split into stairways that lead to locked gates, branch into passages that dead-end at doors marked with signs you cannot fully read. You learn quickly that there are parts of this ship you are not permitted to enter. The gates are not hidden. They are simply there, between you and the upper decks, locked as a matter of policy. You do not think about this. It is the way things are. On the second night, you go up to a deck you are allowed on and lean against the railing in the cold air. Further forward, near the prow of the ship, you see 2 figures, a young man and a young woman, her arms spread wide, his arms around her from behind. They look like they are trying to hold the entire ocean. You watch them for a moment. Then you look back at the water. You have a letter to deliver. It is 11:40 p.m. on April 14th. You are in your berth, half asleep when you feel it. Not an explosion, nothing so dramatic. A long, grinding shudder that runs through the hull like the ship has scraped something enormous. Then silence. Then the engines, which have been the constant background noise of 3 days at sea, stop. The silence is worse than the sound. Men sit up in their berths. Someone goes to look. The reports come back in fragments. "Ice," they say. "We hit ice. It is nothing. Go back to sleep." But the ship is not moving. And the floor, you realize after a moment, is not quite level. You put on your coat. The letter is in the pocket. You go into the corridor. The water hits your feet before you see it. Not a trickle, a cold that goes straight through your boots and into your bones in the first second. You stop. You look down. The water is dark and moving, and it is not warm the way water inside a ship should be. It is the temperature of the ocean. You understand immediately what that means. The ocean is inside the ship. The ship is no longer keeping the ocean out. You know 2 things with complete certainty. The ship is sinking, and you need to go up. You stand still for 1 breath. You think about the 3 days you spent learning this ship, the corridors that folded back, the stairways that ended at locked gates, the doors that separated your part of the vessel from theirs. You had mapped it without meaning to, the way you always map the boundaries of where you were and were not permitted to go. The gates had been locked when everything was fine. You understood with perfect clarity that they would not be open now. You knew how these things worked for your kind of people. You find a different way. You reach the boat deck at 1:15 a.m. The scene is not what you imagined. It is quieter than it should be, the specific quiet of people who have understood something and have not yet decided what to do with that understanding. The ship is visibly tilted now, the bow already lower than the stern, the angle wrong in a way that makes everything feel like a dream. The lifeboats are almost gone. You count what remains. The numbers do not work. You learned enough English in 3 days to understand what full means when a crew member says it, and he says it to you, and to the man behind you, and to the woman beside him. The boats go down into the darkness below the railing and disappear. You pass the prow on your way to the stern. The two figures are gone. The railing where they stood is empty. You wonder, briefly, where they are. Then you stop wondering. The stern is chaos, now hundreds of people pressed toward the highest point of the ship as the bow goes under. You hold the railing. The letter is still in your coat. You think about Marco. You think about his address, which you have memorized: a street in Brooklyn, a building number, an apartment. You have never been to Brooklyn. You had a picture of it in your mind. A street with other Italians, a job in a factory or on a dock, a room you could afford, letters home that would slowly get better. Your mother's face when she finally heard from both her sons at once. The water reaches the stern at 2:18 a.m. The Titanic goes under and takes everything with it. You feel it before you see it. The suction, the pull of something enormous disappearing beneath you and dragging the ocean inward to fill the space where it was. Everything around you moves toward the dark. You fight it because your body fights it, not because you believe it will make a difference. Then the water closes over you completely. The North Atlantic in April is 2 degrees Celsius. You know this number now in a way that cannot be explained to anyone who has not been in that water. It is not cold the way cold is cold. It is the end of sensation, every nerve in your body firing at once, your muscles seizing, the air driven from your lungs by the shock of it. It feels like your bones are freezing inside your body. It feels like your chest is being compressed by something with no limit. The pain is so total that for a moment it is almost clarifying. You do not know which direction is up. The darkness is complete. The light from the ship is gone. There is no surface visible, no reference point, nothing to swim toward. Around you there are other people in the same darkness making the same calculation and finding no answer. You reach for your pocket and you feel it. The letter is still there. You stop swimming. 1,517 people died when the Titanic sank on the 15th of April, 1912. 76% of them were third-class passengers. The average age of the dead was 30 years old. Many were immigrants, Italian, Irish, Scandinavian, Lebanese, carrying everything they owned toward a life that no longer existed by morning. The letters in their pockets were never delivered. The brothers in Brooklyn waited. The mothers in southern Italy waited longer. The Titanic carried enough lifeboats for approximately half the people on board. This was legal. It met every safety requirement of the time. First class, survival rate, 62%. Second class, 42%. Third class, 25%. The ship sank in 2 hours and 40 minutes. It took decades for anyone to formally acknowledge what those numbers meant.